funky.
Good afternoon, guys, it's Garrett, and today I'm going to guys a tutorial on creating your own self-portraits. So today we're going to be going over the programs Illustrator and Photoshop. So before I go on this, I want to say that this video is going to be broken up into a lot of segments. There's going to be this first part here. There's also going to be a second part to go along with it, finalizing stuff, making sure everything goes together well. So today's episode, we're going to be going over choosing the right image, making sure it has the right lighting that you want, and also going over the first rough draft or rough sketch, however you want to put it. And we're using Photoshop to do the sketch only because it's a lot easier to do really small lines, over and over again in Photoshop rather than Illustrator, where it's that really clean vectored brush, a very bold brush that comes through. I know that you guys can change the size and stuff like that, but it's just very something unique to use Photoshop for this kind of stuff, just because it's a lot easier, and of course it looks a lot nicer, and it's a program that responds a lot faster. So I would definitely recommend using Photoshop for the rough draft. Illustrator, we're going to be doing the vectors and stuff like that. And you can do the whole thing in Photoshop. You do not need to be broken down into two softwares. If you guys cannot afford Illustrator and or Photoshop, then you can afford either one. I would definitely buy Photoshop. That would be the number one choice. You guys can do a lot of things in Photoshop. You do not necessarily need that vector of this. So enough of me talking. Let's get right into the examples of how to choose your right image and also how to make sure you know what you're doing. So this is going to be the image that I'm using. It's a picture of the weekend, and the reason why I want to use this is because I know where the light is coming from. I can see that the light source is coming right here. There's a lot of white light that's hitting him, also creating those big dark shadows. You guys can see in the face that has that white light that's really bright on the nose, and then the shadows that come out from the hair, that comes off the thing, the jacket, and also that gets casted onto the background. So some examples that I want to show you guys. If you guys just Google Illustrator portraits, you guys will get styles like this all the time, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen these around multiple times. You guys are probably even interested in how to do it yourself. They're actually very easy to do, and we're gonna be going over how to do it. I'm not gonna go so in depth with it like this one, but we're gonna be going over a lot of tips and tricks, making sure that we get one done ourselves, and we're gonna be happy with the outcome. So not only do people do famous I believe this is soccer or football, do not kill me if I do not know. No, people don't only do these kind of stars, they also do obviously the Weeknd is a star, but they do portraits of other people. They have different kind of styles that they work with, these big blocks of shadows and lighting to kind of create stuff. And also a big one is the Joker, because of the white makeup and also how it turns from white, black, red, green, the very well-known Joker colors. So basically you guys can go anywhere with this. That's not the only example. There's a lot more that you guys can see if you just type in Joker. Things are gonna pop up. You're gonna see that there's a lot of stuff going on with this. So we're gonna be going over on how to pretty much start this whole entire sketch. Make sure that you guys understand where the blocks of light are coming from. So choosing your right image is a huge thing. So a lot of people are gonna understand how to do this. Understand graphic design, they understand lighting, they understand everything like that. Personally, if I do not know, stay tuned, watch this video. There's gonna be a couple minutes of me talking about this. So lighting is a super huge part inside these Illustrator portraits, only because you need the light source to pretty much make those different colors. Leonardo DiCaprio has a huge amount of photography pictures, a lot of portraits and stuff of himself, and this is a really big picture that I would recommend for all the starting off people. It's the first image that comes up if you type in Leonardo DiCaprio. And it has that lighting that just hits the forehead. It illuminates everything. It has the shadows from his forehead, from his cheeks, his chin, inside his mouth, his neck right here, and then also from the collar. And you guys can understand, if you guys click on these, you guys are going to have the light sources that come from here, the nose. It's a lot of interesting things that you guys will notice. Using a black and white picture typically is not the best case. I would always try to stick to color if possible. Even this one would be good because it has that light that comes right here. Of course, guys, you would have to go through these yourself, find your actress or actor or person that you want to do, even take your own picture, just make sure that the light source is coming from somewhere. And you can see that in the black and white stuff, you guys can notice that the light is coming from here, but of course it blends so much together because of the whole entire, black and white theme. So of course I would stick to color just because it creates a better look. It's going to be a lot easier for you guys to understand what color goes where and how everything works. So now that is all said and done, you guys want to get into the whole entire sketching part. So basically find your image, guys, just take it, right click it, and go to copy image. If you guys have Illustrator, you guys are fortunate enough, just paste it in. And I'm not trying to brand my videos and try to get you guys to click on more of my videos, but if you guys haven't already watched my tutorial on my image tracing tips, I would definitely go and watch that, only because it's very informational and you guys are going to be using a lot of tips inside of this. So after you're done pasting your image into the document, you don't need to size it too much. Just click on it, go to this little arrow right here, and go to one of those 3 colors, 6 colors, or 16 colors. So basically, breaking this down into difficulty, it's easy, medium, and expert. So we're gonna go to medium just for today. We're gonna show you guys like different examples of what each one does. And if you guys just click on it, it's gonna go progress. It's gonna do the whole pixel clustering. It's gonna go over this huge entire process. What it's basically doing is breaking down the whole entire portrait, or photography image of the person, making the paths smooth, bringing out colors and everything like that, making sure everything works together. So this is the example that we have that it's going to give us. It's going to break it down into 6 colors, and it's going to pretty much show us where the lights and darks are, what we want to take out, put in. And that's not the only example we have. You guys can go to presets and put it to 16 colors, and it does the same exact thing. The progress, and it shows the pixel clustering. And it's just a lot of long processes. If you guys have a computer that cannot handle it, sometimes some things won't go too much well, and you guys will be stuck loading this for a long time. So this is what we're using Illustrator for. Actually, it's just bringing out these colors. And after you guys are done with this, the 16 colors actually means that it brings out 16 colors. And if you guys take your eye color tool and click everywhere, you guys will only find 16 colors. So this is more of an expert level. It's a lot more, intricate lines, a lot more detailed. There's not only, one color, that there's a bunch of them coming around each other. So I would definitely not put this one for your first try. I would definitely, limit yourself to rather 3 or 6. Probably 6 would be the best for a lot of colors. But you guys can see that everything, it shows where the lights are, it shows where the darks are, and it kind of brings out everything. So this is a really good tip to use in Illustrator when you guys want to do portraits. So this can also be used in like painting and stuff like that. So do not only limit this to yourself with graphic design, illustrating, and stuff like that. And 3 colors, of course, is going to break it down just into 3 colors. This is kind of the really basic stuff, understanding the big shapes of like the hands, the hair, and stuff like that. So you guys can tell 1, 2, 3. The colors are kind of right in your face like that. So we're just going to put it on 6 colors now, and we're going to get right into the designing. So with the whole designing stuff that I'm using, I'm actually using a Wacom tablet. You guys do not necessarily need a tablet to do this. You guys can use your mouse or your trackpad. A tablet is going to make it a lot easier, however, and the reason is behind that is because if we go over to Photoshop, while it does that clustering, and you guys click on the brush, all we're doing is using a really small size, and we're going to be pretty much, sketching and bringing out those big shapes. Make sure your color is on black when you guys are trying to show each other something. And this is all we're doing, basically taking that and bringing out those big shapes. So now that you guys have this image that you guys want to use it, and you guys want to make sure that it's all correct, you want to start blocking up big shapes. So all I'm going to do is actually just take my print screen, and it's pretty much copy this image. And you guys can close Illustrator if you want. You guys don't really have to keep it open. I'm just going to actually close it all. There's one example I was doing for the previous tutorial that I kind of deleted. And what I'm closing Illustrator for is to maximize my CPU usage for Photoshop, so nothing lags and everything like that. Everything goes smoothly. Paste it in, and you guys can make it bigger. You guys are not need a certain size. And all you want to do is make a new layer. Grab a brush on a hardness of 100 and click on size of 2. So you guys can make your brush weighted. If you press harder on the pad, it's gonna be harder. Don't really recommend that for doing just a sketch. So all you want to do is basically take your tablet, take your brush, and exactly what I've been saying is just block in those huge shapes. So you don't need to be so detailed inside of it, but like if you guys have ever traced something on like tracing paper, you guys will know that it's very easy to do. You guys can hide that background layer, and you guys can zoom out and see that. Of course, if you guys are using a pressure tablet, it might be a little lighter than you expected. You guys can actually change that, making like the opacity flow and stuff like that. So we can go over a couple of times. You don't have to. It's only going to be a rough sketch. So you want to basically block out those really big shapes. So where the color changes, how the hair moves, make sure that you get all of that kind of stuff. You guys can even take your time and make out those little details if you really want it, if it really makes you cringe that you guys need to get it done. That's something that you can do on your own time. But you basically want to just block out these insanely big parts just because it's a lot easier to understand how color is going to be used. And color is a huge part inside of this because you need to understand where the lighting is coming from. You need to make sure that the light has its own color, that the dark has its own color, and that everything flows together. So really, it's basically at the point where you just kind of block in stuff, you know. Same thing as I said before, it's kind of like tracing almost, just because there's nothing too hard about it. So, you know, don't get too much into those like little details. Just kind of block in those. Maybe right here is when you want to start getting, you know, showing where that really light tan breaks off into that kind of musty orange or light brown, however you want to explain it. And this is when you start getting into little details, is when you want to bring out certain colors like that. So I don't want to talk too much to you guys. I'm pretty sure you're watching this and not doing it yourself. But if you guys do enjoy these tutorials, let me know in the comment section below. It takes a lot of time out of my day to make them, actually. And I hope you guys appreciate that, just because I want you guys to get the best stuff possible. And I thought this was going to be a really good idea, especially because people need to understand how Illustrator works, how Photoshop can be used, and how just design and all can be making something so pretty. So really quickly, you know, block in stuff as quick as possible. Do not take your time. You guys can zoom in if you really want to and get those lines perfect. As you see, you can obviously tell I could care less how straight my lines are. You know, I keep going over them over and over again, and that's just because I want to understand that where these big shapes are coming from. You know, something like that. Maybe come around this knuckle again, shave it off, and stuff like that. So once you guys have like a little bit of it done, you guys can click your mouse, zoom out, hide that background layer, and be like, all right, well, this is the fingers, obviously, you know, that's probably where the hair and the face are. And it might not look too good to you now, but I promise you guys, when you do it the whole entire thing and come back to it, you're gonna be like, all right, so you guys are gonna understand where everything comes from. So what I'm actually going to do, guys, is I'm going to finish this off myself. I'm going to do a really rough sketch. I'm going to do it really quickly, and I'll be back in about a second. Alright guys, I am back, and basically what I did is I actually just blocked out all those huge, you know, shapes I was talking about. And really quickly, that it does not look anything special. Of course not. It's not going to yet, guys. You know, it's going to take a lot of time and effort to get this stuff going. So now that you guys have this done, all you want to do basically is duplicate this layer, and hitting Control J on Photoshop can do it. And, you know, just minimize that bottom one, make sure you guys have a backup. And this is when you guys can start, you know, blocking in shadows and lighting and stuff like that. And the really quickly way that I'm going to be showing you guys is the actually way that we're going to be doing it. And if you guys haven't done a lot of art in school, a lot of you guys might not be artists, that you guys can typically tend to forget about, you know, light values and stuff like that, and painting skills, you know, watercolor skills. And a lot of people do this thing called an underwash in their paintings, and what that basically is, they use, like, you know, a brown a lot. Sometimes they use like a lighter color, and they basically put everything in first and then go back over it with a different color to create that value difference. And that's what we're gonna be doing today in this tutorial. So we're gonna be doing this, creating this value, just because it's gonna make this a lot easier to understand when we go back into Illustrator, as I've been saying before. So if you guys have this already, all you want to do is really quickly, and you guys might not like this, but make a new layer, hit I on that keyboard, and just click right here. You know, you can leave the face the same color, but click right here and that's the first light value, and just grab, you know, maybe like a circle or like a rectangle or something like that, and just make it, you know, doesn't really matter, just take it, and all you want to do is just click all the way to the left. And what that does is it's going to create a grayscale of the color. You guys can make it black and white if you guys really want to. It's just the easier way to do it. And you guys can label this like color palette or something like that. If you guys are using Illustrator, you guys can save it in your color swatches. But, you know, color, leave it the same. Hit I on the keyboard, you know, hit that, make sure it's the same color. Hit B. And what this does is you guys are going to grab your brush, you know, make another new layer, and call this like underwash. And we're using the word underwash just because it's an art term. You know, a lot of artists use it. And literally, oops, I didn't mean to turn that. Did not mean to turn that. I don't even know how I did that. Interesting. You learn something new every day. Scrubby zoom, fit screen, fill screen, resize the window. No idea, couldn't tell you. It's making me do weird things. Alright, so we're gonna zoom back in, and basically all you literally want to do is take this brush. You guys can even take the size up from a 2 and put it to like, alright, maybe 84 is a little bit too big, maybe like 20 at the most now, maybe even lower, maybe like 8, 7 maybe, no, still more. How about 5? 5 might be good. And take this underwash that you guys have and basically just, you know, just like you're painting, just fill in. Doesn't have to be dark. You guys can literally don't even have to lift up that pencil. Just basically go in, shade, just like you're painting, and make sure that you guys get, you know, where those values change, and only do one color at a time, so you don't confuse yourself with a lot of things. You know, I see people tend to go color into color, and literally all we're doing, as you can tell, is we're just painting. We're literally just act like a coloring book. And this is a really good technique because you're going to get used to how the color works and stuff like this. And of course, it does not have to be super perfect. It does not have to be like the best in the world. Just a little bit here and there. You know, you can do the face first. You guys can do the face last. You guys can go wherever you want. I tend to work with the face first just because it's a lot easier. And, you know, you guys have this. You guys can, you know, hide that background. And then you guys will get like the whole entire thing. And of course, you guys can zoom back in, hit that brown, go back to your colors, take this and drag it all the way to the left, and then grab your brush again, make a new layer for your other color wash, and do it for this side. And you guys can tell already that I am doing it very quickly, and that's because you guys don't need to take time on it. Like, it's a really cool thing that you guys don't need to take time on this, just because it's a lot easier than you think. You guys are going to overthink it a lot. And I'm only going to do the face in this tutorial just so you guys can understand everything. You guys can see where I'm coming from. And, you know, you're done with that. Zoom back out. I don't know why my picture's still sideways. And you guys have that as that motorcycle cruises past my house. And then do the last color. Hit that. You know, it's already kind of a darker color. You can still drag it across to the left. You know, it's always a good habit. Make a new layer. And then you guys can zoom all the way back in. And basically take your brush, darken in that eye. This little values right here. Maybe this eye too. Just like this. Nothing too fancy. Maybe a little over here, darken out that area. And when you guys zoom out, you guys will have, you know, a little underwash, a little thing you guys can work from. And you can do this to the whole entire thing. You guys can keep it to the side. A lot of people do is they'll do the whole entire thing, especially the hair in big colored places. You know, you guys can zoom in, keep that big brush on. You know, you guys can do it that way, or if you guys have a tablet, you know, just kind of like shade it in a little bit. And a lot of art people are gonna be like, wow, what are you doing? And you're really just blocking it in the colors just because it's a lot easier to understand. So you want to do this for the whole entire thing. If you're using a brush, colors don't really matter. I would just try to keep it grayscale if possible. And of course, it's the same thing when you guys get into the hands and stuff like that. It's really nothing hard, and it's really easy to understand. So you guys, you know, just grab the color, make a new layer, grab your brush, and, you know, put that size to like a 7 or an 8, and just work with it. You know, make sure you guys get, you know, into these lines. Do not, you know, don't sweat over getting those lines done. You know, I can see this. I'm just doing it really fast, like with 5-year-old coloring a coloring book. And, you know, don't really stay in the lines because you're going to be going over it again. And this is basically practice into making everything happen. It's a very long process, as I said before, but it's better to do it this way to understand, you know, how lighting works and how all these shadows are going to be created. So just keep doing this. Do this the whole entire hand. You guys can see it takes a couple minutes to, you know, just color. So I don't think you guys are going to be, you know, too upset about coloring. I'm pretty sure when that teacher brings out the coloring pencils in high school, you guys go bonkers. I know for a fact that our class used to. teacher used to drop those coloring books or those coloring pencils onto the desk. He used to tell us to get the textbooks to page 515 and color the geography map of whatever, and we used to do it, you know. But here we go again, do that, you know, hide it. Be like, all right, we'll go in, make the darker colors darker, and I really don't understand why this is sideways. I don't know. Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that. All right. Well, you guys have that. You guys understand this, and of course, you guys are gonna always have the image to go back to right here, and just work it over and over again. Keep adding those layers of colors. And what we're gonna do next in the next tutorial is actually we're gonna be doing the whole entire thing in Illustrator. Excuse me. And we're gonna be using this as our pretty much guideline. And this is a really big thing, guys, is the whole entire, what I went over, the whole entire, you know, basic sketch, you know, making sure the colors are all correct, making sure you understand the highlights and shadows. It's going to be a huge play into this portrait. So guys, if you did enjoy this tutorial, let me know. If you guys want part 2 as soon as possible, leave a like on this video, comment below, let me know on Twitter and everything like that. And it might not look anything special to you guys now, but I promise you guys that once we get everything going and once we get the whole entire undercoat and underwash and all of the layers done, then we're going to be an insane project. So guys, it's been Garrett. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys do like these tutorials, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all for 11,000 subscribers, and I'm going to try to be uploading tutorials as frequently as possible. So this is part 1 of many. So I'm going to call this, you know, episode 1 or something like that. So leave a like on this, make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe to get the next notification for part 2, which is going to be either tomorrow or the next day. And that's where we're going to start adding color, taking it into Illustrator, and start adding stuff like that. So of course, guys, it's been Garrett. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later on. Peace out.